a Cheshire Cat with 3 pounds of amphetamines up his nostril, Chris Jericho is very proud of what he did last night. He single-handedly concocted a plot to ensure that Kevin Owens retained against Roman Reigns at Roadblock. Both men are absolutely overjoyed with the result, so they spend a good few minutes putting each other over and just letting the crowd know how much they do in fact love each other as best friends. They start talking about retribution and revenge, and Chris Jericho turns to Father Christmas, Santa Claus of all people, decides to put him on the list for stealing his gimmick. That's enough for Mick Foley. Foley comes out because of, bad-mouthing Father Christmas and just Christmas in general. And one of the first things he does is just fuck up his own cheap pop, and he says the wrong town name. Well done, Mick. Foley states that he's fed up of Jericho shenanigans, especially when it comes to Kevin Owens matches, so at the Royal Rumble it will be Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns, with Chris Jericho suspended above the ring in a shark cage, of all things. Foley introduces the cage, which is lowered into the ring. Jericho and Owens just slag the shit out of it, saying it's made of tin foil, it doesn't look very sturdy. Mick Foley assures them that it's fine, so he gets Jericho to step in there and test the flooring and the bars, and then while Jericho's locked in there, Mick Foley plays a little game of find the key in my bum bag, or fanny pack as you Yanks call them. Nice and tasteful, seeing as he just forgot where he was moments ago, and now they're playing Alzheimer's jokes, and then also having him parading around in that fucking horrendous top, a jumper, t-shirt, whatever it is. It looks like a Christmas monster's raped and vomited all over Mick Foley. In typical Panto style, Foley does the whole, the cage isn't going to lift up until I give the signal, so he gives the signal, stage crew lift the cage up, and then Jericho's screaming, squealing, crying above the ring. He looks really fucking scared, bless his little cotton socks. Aww. After the ad break, Chris Jericho's backstage with an ambulance crew getting some oxygen. Kevin Owens shoos them away and says he doesn't need it, but you can't get any sense out of Jericho. He's just hyperventilating and just being a bit of a girl, but it's funny. Owens eventually asks for the ambulance crew to come back and see to him while he leaves him to it. Back to Sesame Street now, and Big Kaz has a lovely message for all the kiddies and impressionable people in the crowd and at home. His best mate is just nothing than a fanny rat, just flashing his todger at Lana, sniffing around her, and trying to shag her. And, Rusev's a wanker for not wanting this, so Big Kaz got himself disqualified, punching him in the corner, the referee counted to 5, he didn't break it, and then he just kept windmilling. Eventually Rusev found an opening and got himself out of there. So fuck you Rusev, fuck you Lana, and fuck you for trying to stand up for your marriage, bastards. Woo, Divas time. Sasha waddles down to the ring, puts herself over, says she's made history, as per usual, and then expects sympathy from us all because she's got a poorly leg. Aww. Thankfully, she's interrupted by Nia Jax, who kicks the crutch away and then knocks her out for a bit. Backstage, Mick Foley presents Cesaro with brand new Tag Team Championship belts. The central plate looks a lot nicer and clearer. Obviously, they've gone with red because it's Raw. Not that I think it looks nice because it doesn't, but hey ho. A random referee appears and informs Foley that Braun Strowman's going batshit crazy somewhere in the back, so Foley heads off. After he finds Berserker Braun backstage, Strowman tells Foley to give him Sami Zayn, or else. Foley says that Zayn's not here tonight and he won't be at all, so Strowman decides to go with or else and marches off. Just before Cedric Alexander defeated Noam Dar, we're given a recap from 205 Live last week with Noam Dar's sex pest heel turn, and then after the match he continues this behaviour by saying he's still after Foxy, whilst having this Scottish way of just calling her Fucks, Alicia Fucks, all the time. Quality. It's a new day, yes it is. And to be fair, they look rather chipper about the whole situation. They say that they've got to lose twice before they can be 3-time champion, and then Big E takes a little pop at Charlotte Flair for playing hot potato with the title. After a while, Cesaro come out, and then they bicker between themselves as they always do. Sheamus is the only real heel in the whole outfit. Then the club come out and say that they're responsible because they've been beating down the New Day for months now, and that's why they're easy pickings. And then the Shining Stars come out and they hand the brochures out and they're just trying to be nice and let people have a holiday over Christmas. Cesaro tears one of the brochures up and then they all scrap. I'm not quite sure what happened, but during the break, Teddy Long must have been summoned and he made an 8-man tag team match. Cesaro gets the win using the sharpshooter, and then all the faces celebrate afterwards. I was half expecting the New Day to just completely turn there and then and just destroy Sheamus and Cesaro, seeing as they've been using the sneaky tactics over the last few weeks to a month. I thought now would be the ideal time to turn them. Oh, bless him, he's pretending he can read. Oh, big lad. Enzo Amore discovers he has to attend a sensitivity meeting. It's mandatory, and it's tonight. After reappearing and turning on Rich Swann, Neville cut one of the best promos he's cut since he came up to the main roster. He hasn't looked or sounded this serious in a long time. He says he's going to obliterate the Cruiserweight division, which brings the champ Rich Swann out. Before Swann has a chance to say much, the Brian Kendrick comes out and stands at the other side of him. He manages to push Neville's button so that they can both jump him. As they do, TJ Perkins tries to have a go, but he just gets smacked in the face and dropped.
Neville just stamps the shit out of them both. It was good. He looked fucking mean as hell. Once Neville's left the ring, Kendrick helps himself to a few cheap shots. No, and fucking especially no, fuck off. Yeah, although it took Braun about an hour to get from the back to the ring, and although he was just very confused with the situation, he was trying to ruin Christmas for Foley. He knows how much Foley absolutely adores Christmas, and a confused Braun Strowman got into the ring, and he decided to annihilate an elf and a reindeer. Obviously that's Sin Cara and Titus O'Neil. Strowman couldn't quite get the difference, but never mind. After he tosses him around for a bit, he decides to go and take the elf backstage to give it a good scene to, because it's just bucket list and that, but Mick Foley appears and stops him from doing so. So he ends up spitting his dummy out and he just launches the elf straight into the Christmas equipment. Then he fucks a Tenenbaum, and then he ruins the rest of the decorations and buggers off, possibly leaving Mick Foley crying in the fetal position in the toilets, who knows. Kevin Owens succeeds in raising Chris Jericho's spirits after his traumatic event earlier on in the Shark Cage. They've still got to look forward to Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins later on though. Next up we've got an advert for the new series of RuPaul's Drag Race, but one of the oh shit, no, sorry, my mistake, no, it's Charlotte Flair cutting a promo. She says she's the greatest ever and that she'd dominate any era, just the usual shit, and Bayley comes out and mentions that she's 2-0 against her so far, and then they make a match. Great. The match itself was nothing flash, no one in the crowd really cared. It was pretty sloppy between them. Bayley's good, but I don't think she's good enough to carry Charlotte like some people can. Bayley ended up sneaking in a backslide and getting the victory, so she's now 3-0. But Corey Graves, my old mate, did notice on the replay that Charlotte's shoulder was up, but the referee didn't see it, so I'm guessing we're going to have rematch after rematch after fucking rematch. Alright then, fine, seeing as you've forced my hand, well, forced my tongue in this instance, I'll elaborate. No to Bo Dallas being fucking used for nothing but this. Was his push going nowhere? Were they not going to do anything with him? Fuck knows. No to this fantastic homophobic display. No to this horrible attempt at fucking racial stereotyping. And just no to Enzo Amore. What's the fucking point? Didn't learn anything. I meant to like this guy. He doesn't learn his lesson. I'm hoping this whole fucking scene just burns to the ground. Luckily for me, and for the bird in the room, because Enzo failed to pull her, and he's got that kind of lusty sort of, special strength look to his eyes now. Rusev and Jinder Mahal end up jumping Enzo and beating the shit out of him. Then they hold him back, Lana comes in, smacks him right in the face, and then, of all things, he gets hit with a rock bottom through the table. Beautiful. The main event was a pretty fun match between most of the Shield and Jericho. Just before the end double hot tag, Braun Strowman appeared and attacked Roman Reigns, then he got in the ring and attacked Rollins. Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens slide out of the ring nicely, and then feed Roman Reigns back into the ring for Braun Strowman to destroy. It's good to see what they're doing with Braun, giving him something different, but they have to be careful because if they just stick the belt on him, who's going to beat him, and he's not that great in the ring, and they run a real risk of just repeating the Great Khali, and nobody wants to see that shit again, especially not me. And that's me done for another week. If you'd like to comment, please follow the link in the description to the Botchmania site and do so there. If you prefer Twitter, I can be found at Blunt Damage. If you like my theme music, the band are The Colour Fire, and they can be found at www.thecolourfire.com. Please feel free to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.